After you get where you're going, take off your shoes and your socks. Then you walk around on the rug barefoot and make fists with your toes.
Fists with your toes.
I know, it sounds crazy. Trust me, I've been doing it for 9 years. Yes, sir, better than a shower and a hot cup of coffee.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
This is Cheapseat Reviews.
Envision in your mind a fat guy running across the house to try to get 2 AA batteries.
And he eats a freaking Crunch Bar, so suck it, Sam and Andrew.
We're exposing my children to South Korean filmmaking.
Hello, and thank you for listening to Cheapseat Reviews, the podcast that explores the Hollywood film industry for the greater good.
Das große Gut.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And that's
I figured I'd go in the vein of our boys from Germany in this movie.
And that's super appropriate because you, just like the actors in this movie, aren't German.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's actually from the hood.
Sam?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Well, there's a lot about Sam you don't know, but I am writing his biography.
I am a mean MFer. I mean,
That's
I can really just mess you up with my mean rhymes and my guns.
Well, he has been known to bust a cap.
Yeah,
once or twice.
I bust caps.
Kneecaps, that is, but
yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's in my own.
Your own, basically,
So,
and
yeah.
ankles and other things. Okay.
And ankles, yeah.
This is episode 373, and it feels like it's been a while since I've talked to you guys, but then I realized it has been. It's been 2 weeks, so
yeah, 2 weeks. It's been a little bit.
Yeah, I was on last week. We had a really, really great episode last week with the music of Star Wars, and it was awesome. If you have not listened to that, you really need to check it out. It's so good, especially since I finally uploaded the correct file, and therefore it will be a much more enjoyable experience for you.
How many people downloaded the wrong thing? This is my question. Do you know?
I don't know, but I do know that I got several messages on Twitter saying, hey, there's no music, but you guys are talking about it, so I assume that there's supposed to be music. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I started to come on tonight and actually have something for you and say, hey, listen to this. And then just have silence.
Nice.
But
you tried to go
nice.
tried against it?
Yeah, I took the high road.
All right. Well, that's very nice.
You did, Andrew. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. So this is episode 373, and tonight we're talking about Die Hard. This is our first movie in our non-Christmas movie, not marathon, but anthology. That's the word I'm going to use. It's not right, but I'm going to use it. And I'm really excited about this category because I think it's a pretty eclectic grouping of movies that all have kind of the shared in the same space of is it a Christmas movie or is it not? I'm not necessarily here, or we're not really here to make that argument either for or against it. Either you believe it or you don't. I don't think we're here to change your mind. We're just here to talk about Die Hard. And yes, if you have been listening for as a long time, if you're an avid listener to the podcast, you're going to say to yourself, didn't you guys already do Die Hard? And yes, that was episode 77, but it was just me and a guest, Steven, and I thought that it would be perfectly acceptable to review it again with Sam and Andrew and our new guest tonight, who I will introduce in just a second, who has been waiting very patiently in the corner. So, this is episode 373, Die Hard, which I already said. I am Sean Allred, which I have not said, and joining me tonight is Andrew, has a naked calendar in his attic, Jemison.
Sean.
Yeah.
Bubby. I am your white knight.
Yeah.
And yes, I do have calendars in my attic.
Nice. I would expect nothing less from you. Sam, what was the purpose of that RV anyway? Vector? Oh, he's gone. We're 5 minutes into the podcast and he has already crashed. This is This is amazing. This is podcasting
Oh,
at its best.
he's gone.
So
Oh.
my remote died. It wasn't just that it turned off after inactivity. The batteries were dead.
Nice.
So you just, and if you can envision in your mind a fat guy running across the house to try to get 2 AA batteries, tripping on a set of clippers that are left on the floor from when we put up the tree, and stumbling into the kitchen to find it. That was just what happened in our household.
Wait a minute. I don't want to I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, but do you mean there's a live tree in your house right now?
Yes. Yes, there is.
Oh,
I lose that battle every year. I can't win that battle. I've tried. I even bought her a artificial tree with the twinkly lights, right? You can program it from your phone. It's like a $400 tree.
Yeah.
And she still wants a live one.
Sure.
So
no, yeah, you got it. Yeah.
I carried that sucker in the other day.
Good for you. And joining us tonight, making his Cheap Seat Reviews debut, is Chris. They brought a hacker to work a drill from the Geek Peak Podcast.
What is up, gentlemen?
Hey, man.
I am so stoked to be on here, and I am very excited to talk about this film. And I let these three in on a little secret. I didn't want to admit it, but I had never seen this film before. I thought I had, but I had never seen this movie. And it's, spoilers, it's awesome. It's a fantastic film. And it's 100% a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
How you gonna say it's not a Christmas movie? They start off with a Christmas rap song. December 24th is in the lyrics.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, it's got all the trappings of a Christmas movie. I mean, it's not that far away from a Hallmark movie, honestly. You got the lady in the big city and the guy who's the fish out of water, and he has to come to the place, and they reconnect and they fall in love again, and
it's
he
romantic.
He really is
Not
romantic.
quite Lifetime, but Hallmark, yeah.
Well, if Lifetime, well, I guess it is kind of more Lifetime because it is kind of his fault that he is estranged. But I think this is fair to say that this is what Hallmark would have been doing in 1989 or 19.
This is my favorite Hallmark movie I've ever seen. For sure.
No,
so not only is it a Christmas movie, it's a Hallmark. It's a romantic comedy as well.
Oh, my wife would be so pissed if she heard this right now. I'm just
You brought up the Christmas rap. I had no idea that Run DMC did this, and so I had to look it up. Christmas in the Hollis. So if you want to look this song up, it's a gem. I don't know why they don't play it on radio at Christmas time, but they should for sure.
They should.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They're shadow banning one of the best Christmas songs that has ever been made.
It's glorious. Chris says, spoiler alert, this movie's awesome. I don't think you're spoiling anything for a 30-year-old movie or whatever this is. But Andrew, did we mention also this was kind of like your first time, right?
I am 37 years old.
Yeah.
And I have never seen Die Hard until yesterday. Actually, I watched it yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't know how I've gone this long, and I've seen pretty much every other action movie ever, but this one escaped me somehow.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So no, I have to ask the two diehard virgins here, or were non-virgins anymore? But had you seen parts of it at least? Right, the iconic parts.
No, I hadn't seen any of it.
Oh my god!
I mean, other than like in GIFs or in memes or whatever, that's about it.
Yeah,
that's like
so many memes.
Yeah.
So many memes. Like definitely the scene where Bruce Willis is crawling through the vents.
Yeah,
and obviously the finale with my dude. I know him as Professor Snape, but Alan Rickman.
Oh sure, yeah.
Like that. I was like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's sitting on his chair, like pointing with the glass of whiskey.
Yeah.
Like I felt like that guy. I felt like that, meme as I was watching this. I was like, oh, that's the thing. That's the thing.
Yeah, like because one of the meme one I see a lot is like when Bruce Willis is standing there and there's a hole in the window and he screams "Welcome to the party, pal." Like that one gets used a lot.
Yeah.
There's a couple other ones that get used a lot. Yeah, no, you're not wrong. This movie does have a good amount of memes and very quotable. I mean, the biggest quote of the movie obviously is "Yippee ki yay, mother effer."
Yeah.
That's the big one. But that's just interesting to see. And as I'm recording this, I'm kind of back and forth with our good friend of the show, Jesse, on Twitter. Yes, I'm calling him out again. He posted that he hadn't seen this movie. I'm giving him a little bit of grief on Twitter, but hey, you know what? You haven't seen every movie. I get it. It's not a big deal. I just like to give him shit because he gave me shit for having not seen Highlander. So
Does that make him a Mr. Falcon?
wow, that's a callback. Yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just want to throw it out there, Jesse. Just go ahead and open yourself up to this because it's seriously that good. Everybody who says it's good, yeah, it's actually that good. Definitely take the plunge.
Yeah. There's no reason not to, other than just to spite me, which I think
I would have done.
It's something definitely
certainly
Sam would
that.
do.
Yeah.
I don't think we really have to sell Jesse on this. I just think it's simply one of those things that just he hasn't watched it for the reasons I haven't watched The Godfather. It's just I haven't. No reason other than I just haven't. So, yes, feel free to send me your hate tweets or whatever. You haven't seen The Godfather? No, I haven't. So there it is. We all have our list of shame. It is.
You just don't like Italians. I get it. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I am Irish, so I don't know what that means, but
I don't either.
it just sounded like the right thing to say.
Sure.
But I'm sure it wasn't.
Laughs in pasta.
Andrew, please tell the listening audience, because there are people that haven't seen this movie. So what is Die Hard?
An NYPD officer tries to save his wife and several others taken hostage by German terrorists during a Christmas party at the Nakatomi Plaza in Los Angeles. Yeah, I had to pause on that. Nakatomi caught me off guard there. But yeah, that's pretty much Die Hard.
So I was in a trivia game last night, and literally Nakatomi Plaza was an answer to one of the trivia questions, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" It was like the planets aligned, and I was like, I know it.
It would only have been better if that was the answer that won you the game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it comes down to this. What is the name of the plaza where Bruce Willis fights in Die Hard? And you're like, it's the Nakatomi Tower.
You're facing off against a German player.
Yeah. Who's actually not German. He's actually British. Yeah, it's funny. Like, none of the bad guys, I think like 3 of the 11 bad guys or 13 bad guys are German.
Yeah.
Like Carl, the big, long, blonde-haired, like he looks German. Like he's not at all.
No.
He just knows.
He's Swedish or something, maybe.
I don't know. He was in.
He's more Swedish than Austrian.
His real name's Fabio, right?
Yeah. And
thank you. Oh my God,
yeah.
thank you. In
also,
my notes, I had him written down as Fabio.
Nice.
So
he's also in. He's also Amish. What was that movie? Witness, right? That we watched with Harrison Ford. He's in that too.
I thought you were serious for a minute. I was like, really? I don't think Amish folk would. I didn't say Amish folk.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
he's the first popular Amish actor.
Yeah, they use guns and all the other stuff that Amish folk are known for. All right, so Die Hard, 1988's Die Hard, directed by John McTiernan. This is, gosh, how many of McTiernan's movies have we done now? Several, right? So let's see. We've done
Last Action Hero.
Last Action Hero. Did we?
13th Warrior.
We did 13th Warrior. Oh, now we're getting to the point where I don't remember what we've done. Shit. We did the Thomas Crown Affair. I know that. Yeah. We did the Hunt for Red October. That was like our 3rd episode ever.
It's got to be his best one, right?
I don't know. Oh, is this a debate we could have real quick?
I don't know.
Off the top of your head,
Careful,
what's your
Sam is a master debater.
yeah? What he is? What is your favorite Jedi master debater? Masturbate?
No innuendo there.
No.
No, none at all.
No, yeah. Feel
None at
free to
all.
throw in a good dick joke every now and then. It's fine. I don't know. What do you think? So his first film is something called Nomads, which I've never heard of. So you have Predator, Die Hard, Hunt for Red October, Medicine Man, Last Action Hero, Die Hard with a Vengeance, Thomas Crown Affair, 13th Warrior, Rollerball, Basic, and he is now in pre-production of something called Tau Ceti 4, which I think he was in pre-production the last time we did a movie with him.
Okay.
I know nothing about it. Oh, a group of rebels set out to kill the oligarchs and military thugs who terrorize a war-torn planet in the remote Tau Ceti solar system. It has Uma Thurman and Travis Fimmel. There you go. Anyway, so which one do you guys think? What do you guys say is your favorite? Let's just do favorite instead of saying best. Which is your favorite?
Hunt would be mine
Yeah.
for
Hunt
sure.
for Red October. Okay, Andrew,
I agree. Yeah.
Chris.
I mean, Die Hard obviously is way up there. But in terms of total quality of movie, Hunt by far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think The Hunt for Red October is definitely the best film, but personal favorite, it's got to be Predator for me personally.
Okay.
I love a good action sci-fi, and I had no idea that he also did, Predator and Die Hard. So
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. Hunt for Red October is Tom Clancy.
Yeah.
Oh, I do love a good Tom Clancy movie adaptation. So.
He has a great eye for action. I mean,
Yes, yeah, he does.
You got to give him that. I mean, especially the 80s style action. Holy crap.
Well, he can also really tell a story. He can tell a really I mean, not like none of his movies are complicated. They're all pretty simple, but he can tell it really well. And they all look great, and they all sound great. I mean, it's a good vision. To answer my question, I actually think, as far as the whole movie from front to end, I think Medicine Man is probably like the best looking, best shot, best story, best acted. You know what I'm saying? But it's not my favorite. My favorite's Die Hard.
Yeah.
But I also, I mean,
I'm with you there. I'd rather watch Die Hard than Hunt, only because Hunt is just, it's different. It's a different type of movie. Die Hard is Die Hard's, get a drink, sit back, come to the coast, have a few laughs.
Yeah.
It's just, it's so fun. It's just a fun movie.
Well, the other good thing about the fun part about Die Hard specifically is, like, it's a movie where, like, let's say you're at the house by yourself, Sam, and you're like, you know what? I just in the mood for an action flick to put on while you work on, your Etsy stuff. Like, it's okay to miss stuff. Whereas, like, with Hunt, you kind of feel like you have to really pay attention, even though
there's a lot of stakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and there's just a lot of, the audience has to figure some stuff out too. Like I think that movie requires the audience to kind of participate along with the movie. Like as you're watching Jack Ryan figure things out, you're like, oh, okay, I wonder who is the other bad guy. It's the cook, and so anyway, spoiler, I guess, from, again, 30-year-old movie. But yeah, no,
I haven't seen it, Sean. What the heck?
It's all right. Even though you just said it was one of your favorites.
Yeah.
No, I love Hunt. I mean, if I were to, the ones that I've seen most of them, I would probably do Die Hard 1, Hunt, Die Hard 3, 13th Warrior, Predator. Last Action Hero is going to be, and then Last Action Hero. That's the other one I haven't seen.
By the way, I believe Last Action was just added to Netflix. It might be something to put on the list.
I thought we did it. Did we not?
I don't think we did Last Action.
Maybe we tried.
Was it Last Action or Eraser? I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff right there around that time.
Yeah, we totally
did it.
Yeah, episode 67.
Well, that's why.
Yeah,
it's like 8 years ago. So for sure.
No, and we did Eraser, but that's not a McTiernan film. So anyway.
You're a McTiernan film.
I know. That was a fun. That's just crazy that he goes from 2003 was his last film to now he's working on this new thing. I mean, that's a long time to take off
Yeah.
of
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
of directing.
Quick question for y'all, and Sean, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what would be the must-watch of McTiernan's works outside of Predator and Die Hard? Because those are and Hunt. Those are the three that I've seen. I actually haven't seen any of his other movies. I mean, I've seen I think I've seen Die Hard with a Vengeance, but God forbid I'll watch it and be like, I've never seen this movie either.
Well, it's the one with Sam Jackson, and it's as close to a buddy cop as this kind of movie can be. I mean, it's not Lethal Weapon. That's straight buddy cop. Like there's slapstick in that. But if you're looking for something a little different, though, again, well acted, kind of a fun story, I think The 13th Warrior is really underrated and really good.
Yeah.
Antonio
That's
Banderas.
with Antonio Banderas, right?
Yeah. It's also based on a Michael Crichton book. And
Yep.
Ooh, I love me some Michael Crichton.
yeah, it's
Huge
a
Michael
cool
Crichton
thing. So the Michael Crichton book, The 13th Warrior, is a think of it as a after action report of someone that was there based on the poem Beowulf by the Beowulf story. So like if the Beowulf story were a real event and someone was there and they wrote a story to their superiors telling the story of Beowulf, that's what this movie is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sold. I'm watching it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna report back in. I'm gonna tweet at you and be like, 13th Warrior, new favorite action film. Let's go.
I mean, I'm trying to think. Like for Antonio Banderas, like legit. I like Antonio Banderas. He hasn't done a lot of movies that I've seen. Like the Mask of Zorro movie is really good, I think. I'm trying to think of some other movies that he's done that I've seen. Antonio Banderas.
The Mexican or what is that one we watched with Selma Hayek and he was the El Mariachi? What was that?
Oh yeah, gosh, yeah, Desperado.
Oh yeah.
Right, Desperado. Isn't that what it is?
Desperado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite of his.
Once
But-
Upon a Time in Mexico.
That's the
sequel to
That's
that.
the sequel to it with Johnny Depp.
Oh, okay.
Not as good. It's a little weirder. But it's all right. But I think that if you're gonna do Antonio Banderas, I like The 13th Warrior, and I like him in it. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
so Sam, why don't you go ahead and do your 5-word review?
Why?
Why? Because I think it would be a good idea. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah. Hold on. Let me pull it up here. I've got two of them here. And the first one is McClane's One Unlucky Lucky Bastard.
That's good. I like that. Yeah.
Right. But the one that I enjoy is the so fun, so violent, perfect.
Nice.
Okay.
Right. And it's a movie. Turn off your brain. Number one, turn off your brain. You'll feel much better.
Yeah.
But that's part of the best part of this, right? It's an homage, a glorification of the everyman. Certainly he's a cop, and certainly he's got some skills in that area, but there's no superpowers to him. There's no lucky shots. He gets brutalized throughout this whole entire movie because he's human, and I think we all relate to that. And coming during a time of movies where the one punch movies, where you punch a guy, they're knocked out, especially during this time, I think Die Hard was a breath of fresh air that showed us that that any person could be a hero in given the right circumstances. And if you look at this movie, the Hans Gruber, of course, is obviously the villain. He's super smart, so he's got kind of like that super villain to him. But all the other average everyday Joes are the heroes of this movie. You've got Carl out there as the beat cop, and the idiot supervisors that come in and wreck everything else. who are supposed to be in charge and supposed to be the smartest people in the room, end up being the idiots in the room.
Yeah.
So it really is a fantastic, just a fantastic glorification of what the everyman can do, and I really appreciate it. I kind of really tried to train it in this time around on that, and I had a blast.
Awesome. Yeah, one of my notes that I took towards the end of the movie was that you don't really think about it especially until you watch it for like what we do, is that not only is Hans Gruber the main bad guy, but this movie has like bad guy adjacent characters. Like the FBI guys suck, right? They're assholes.
Yes.
It's not that
Big Johnson
Yeah.
and Little Johnson.
Well, they don't say that.
That's their.
It's just
look it up,
like
that's their credited name.
Or no, it's just like Saigon.
Yeah, he said it's just like Saigon, and then the other guy said, I was in junior high, dickhead. The funny part about that line is that those
That's what I said
actors
to
are
Sam,
only
yeah.
like 4 years apart in age. But that's because
gosh.
the white guy looks so old because of his skin, and the black guy looks really young, that you can get away with the line.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, those guys sucked. They're like, how many hostages do you think are going to die? 25%. I can live with that. It's like, you guys are terrible.
That would never happen in real life, but
but it's,
no.
you do have to turn your brain off, like you said, and suspend belief
All of it.
and put some of that stuff aside.
But even the limo driver ends up being a hero
Yeah.
in this movie.
Right.
So I mean, it really is.
So yeah, so like there's
a
like
victory for all of us, couch potatoes.
there's like 4 heroes in this movie, right? You have John,
Yeah.
you have Holly, you've got Carl, and then you've got oh gosh, how can I forget the driver's name?
Argyle.
Argyle. Yeah.
Argyle. There you go.
And then everyone else sucks. Everyone else. Like, I feel bad for the SWAT
Yep.
guys that are attacking the building, but I mean, did the movie really have to show him running through the rose bushes and get a thorn and go, ow?
Yeah, I did a double take at that scene because I thought, did we really just witness this guy get pricked by a rose bush?
Yeah. I don't know if this is the director making fun of people from LA. Because
Yeah.
multiple times John McClane goes, ugh, people from LA, like, or LA or whatever he says, like the guy kisses him at the party and the people at the airport, like he hates everything about LA, right? He just hates it all. And then we show the SWAT guys just getting pricked by flowers. I mean, it's just so funny. This movie hates people from LA, except Carl, who's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. John getting a kiss from the guy at the party, and he's like, "Effing California."
Yeah.
Like, it's just so good.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's great. Andrew, what's your 5-word review?
Well, I have 2. Best Christmas story ever told.
Even my pastor might disagree.
I was getting ready to
but
say
I'm
something like that.
right there with you.
I'll bring that up.
Yeah, I was
Sunday
hoping
at
one of
church.
you would say that.
Yeah, I'll bring
So
that
I
up at
didn't feel
Sunday
like
at church.
such a terrible person. And then my second one is a quaint little family film.
Quaint family.
I don't think I've ever seen another Christmas movie with as many boobs in it, or
Yeah?
the F word, which Anyway, like Chris said, the Christmas rap won me over. Everything about this movie I loved, just everything.
Right.
That was back in the days. You could take a gun on an airplane and just say, "It's fine, I'm a cop. Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
And people would be like, "Yeah, all right, that guy's a cop."
He's
Of course.
fine. Don't have to worry about him.
The music, the score, it's the same thing. I mean, you got your bad guy theme, which is Beethoven's Ninth Symphony in minor, which I kind of was digging it.
Yeah.
And it did get a little old after a while, but I still liked it the whole way. I've always there was a scene where one of the henchman thug guys slides down a stair rail, He ggets his hands
my
and feet
God.
on the rail. I've always wanted to do that. Like I saw that and I was like, God, he's such a lucky guy just to get to do that. So
Andrew's hitting literally everything that I would talk about right now. Like that stair scene, I was like, oh, that guy's awesome.
I mean, there are things in this that we talked about, like that the C4 is. I mean, we all know C4 is an explosive, but my God, you level a city street with the amount of C4 that what we assumed was going to. I mean, one little block of C4. Maybe it's that powerful. I don't know. I don't play with it on a regular basis, but like.
Don't forget, in the 80s, everything was constructed with explodium.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is, yeah.
Sam, you mentioned the police chief. He's the typical 80s trope, right? He's the typical 80s adult in charge. You know, I think about the parents from Ferris Bueller or any adult from an 80s movie.
Yeah, really any adult from any John Hughes movie, yeah.
Yeah, makes completely wrong decisions. Everything, I loved it. I did find a few things that were wrong with the movie, or a few little things that bothered me.
Little nitpicks, that's okay.
One of them happened at the very beginning. We're in the scene, we're in the limo. Argyle picks him up, and I don't know if you noticed the sound when they're having this conversation, but Argyle's talking, and it's like they recorded this in a bathroom somewhere. But it's not. It's not in that limo because it's very echoey. It almost sounds like they're in a warehouse. It's very echoey. It's very boomy, and then it cuts to another scene, and the sound's fixed. But that was one thing that immediately got my attention. We've already mentioned these people aren't German. And as much as I love Alan Rickman, like I'm an Alan Rickman fan, like Sheriff from Nottingham, Professor Snape, like he's my dude. I like Alan Rickman, but his German accent is like Kevin Costner trying to do a British accent.
Well, remember he was from East Germany. Wasn't that what it was? They said he was East German, and even Rickman himself basically said, "I was just going for a generic European accent."
Generic, yeah.
So
yeah.
You know, the only flaw, you talk about a little bit of a flaw. The only flaw I saw was at the very end, and it was only because the limo comes flying out of the garage, right? And like
which would have been
up,
shot up completely,
right? Yeah, and they just let him go. They're like, we don't need witnesses. We don't need to process anybody here. Just go on home. You're just fine.
But if a car came speeding at the cops like that, they had just gotten done with all these terrorists, that would have been Swiss cheese. That car would have been filled with bullet holes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the camera only shows us, John telling Carl, like, "Oh no, it's good," and because he's the only one that. But like, it's kind of sad. It's like he was the only cop that readied a weapon. Say like all the other cops were like, whatever.
Yeah,
he was trigger happy by that point. He had just killed a bad guy. He was looking for more. The adrenaline was pumping. He was ready to put down some more bad guys.
More bad guys.
The only other thing that bothered me, and I'll move on here. There was one scene. McClane's in the conference room, and he's like hiding under the table and stuff, and he's trying to figure out exactly what's happening. And they shoot the dude in the head, and his blood splatters on the window. And then he moves. There's no way that they all come storming out like they hear him with the doors closed in a separate room, like 40 feet away. He doesn't make that much noise. And they all start looking for him like there's 20 people in the room next to him. So, little things like that bother me. But overall, this is still a very good movie. I did enjoy it, and I can't believe it took me this long to finally watch Die Hard.
Nice.
So you could take it off your list of shame because this is something I would have forced you to sit down and watch this thing just as much as I think Sean would as well. So.
Yeah, if I'd have known this when we lived together in college, I would have made you watch this a long time ago because this is a movie that I had on VHS and DVD. I don't own it on Blu-ray, which is actually kind of remarkable, but which is annoying because I had to watch it on IMDb TV, so I had to watch it with commercials.
I did
I did too.
Same here.
Yeah, it's the only way to watch it, and that's,
Well, and we're cheap. I mean, come on.
well, and I need a medium like that so I can record clips. So, though in fairness, some of the clips that I had were from the first time we did this movie, so I didn't have to pull nearly as many as I normally did, but I still.
I did. I noticed that this is. I've seen this movie several times. I did notice in one of the fight scenes that John McClane has with the long-haired blonde guy.
Yeah.
Earlier, before the chains and all that sort of stuff, his sounds as he's getting hit are the worst sound effect ever in this movie because he's like, and I don't know if you got that or not. I might have to go look it up, but it's horrendous. It's really bad.
I didn't get any of that. I do like that John is constantly just saying, "I'm gonna effing kill you, and I'm gonna eat your brain, and then I'm gonna, like the trash talking he's doing while the fighting is going on is the most ridiculous thing ever. But it's still kind of funny, so I don't really care." Chris, do you have a 5-word review?
Oh yeah, sorry.
I do. So I have two, like Andrew. My first one is this movie is so 80s in the best way. Like I had a blast watching this movie. I mean, I feel like the 80s were, don't get me wrong, I love modern movies, but the 80s were like the golden age of action films. Just all of the action in here. And, when you go into this movie with the healthy suspension of disbelief, you will have the most fun watching this. As someone who watched it for the first time, I'm just like, yes, all of this, every single part. My second 5-word review is John McClane will not die.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they got to make 4 more movies. Yeah.
And like you said, it's not because he's a superhero. It's like that. The one scene that always sticks out to me for the first time, I should say, is when he's in the vents and Fabio has got his AUG that he's pointing up, and he's bumping it up against the vents, and John's got his pistol just aimed at this guy's head, and I was like, is he about to just execute this man? Because I'm here for it. And he didn't, but I was like, that is so cool. Such a small detail. So good. Loved it.
Well, it goes to,
and that's one of the tropes that drives me crazy, only because I used to build buildings and large buildings, and in no way, shape, or form can a human go through ducts and not pull the whole dang thing down.
Yeah,
it's just
they're just held up by
impossible.
tacks or something, right?
Yeah. It doesn't work.
If it depends, it depends on the duct system. Like those big air like the big intakes. Because I've had to work and do ceiling work before too, like hanging speakers, and like that stuff you're talking about, Sam, in this movie particularly. You're right. I don't touch that stuff, but like the big wide like intakes, I can have a picnic on, because those things are, basically it's not rebar, it's threaded rod to the ceiling. That can hold a lot of weight. But it's the same thing that movies do. I mean, like one of my favorite movies of all time is Sneakers, and you got Robert Redford crawling around on top of drop ceiling like it's damn hardwood floor, and it's like I'm trying to put the tile back in, and it breaks in half, and like I'm treating it like it's an egg, and they break. So that's again.
But that's just movie magic, But it is something that I find hard to every time I see it, it's something I notice.
Remember, Sam, this is the same director that told us that he hoped we wouldn't notice that when Pierce Brosnan puts the painting inside the suitcase and crushes it in half, and then when he reopens it and hangs on the wall, that the painting is perfect. He hoped that you wouldn't notice that. It's the same guy. So I'm just saying.
Question for y'all. Is this like the first movie to do the crawling through the ventilation shafts trope, or is this, tried and true?
It's definitely the most famous.
I'm trying to think of. I mean, Jurassic Park did it in the 90s. But it wasn't the ventilation, it was just above the ceiling. God, what other movies was there?
There's got to be
So
something else.
This
in
is
the
88. So this might be the forerunner of one of the most famous sneak attacks in film.
I feel like it might be famous. I think that's probably the better word. Like you said, I think it's probably the most famous or most widely known. I'm sure that people are listening going, oh, no. There's a lot of times where such and such was doing that and such and such. Like, I can't think of any off the top of my head, and I'm not going to Google that, but yeah, I don't know. It's a trope and it's fine. And Sam's not wrong.
Breakfast Club.
Oh,
Breakfast Club.
sure,
Bender escapes the broom closet through the school's air duct system.
nice. Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's before this or not, but
They use it in
There you go.
Squid Game,
yeah.
but she's like a 90-pound girl, so I think there's a big difference between,
Yoked John McClane,
yeah,
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis. He's probably only about $150 or whatever, but still. And I think to that scene specifically goes back to Andrew's point where he is very lucky because
Gosh.
a bullet hole 6 inches farther down, and this movie kind of had two Fabios, right? Because you had blonde.
Well, they're brothers, right?
Well, no. So the brothers was the short-haired blonde in the sweatpants suit, right? Sweatpants and
Okay.
sweatshirt. That was the first guy that John kills. But then there's the other guy with the really sweet hair who was hanging around with Carl with the blonde hair, the Amish guy. And so like he's the one that's like, hey, here comes a cop, we have to go. And that's why they don't have the showdown inside the vent. But yeah, Andrew's point, he's very lucky. But you're not wrong. They both look like, you have like blonde Fabio, and then you've got like brunette Fabio.
Yeah.
Okay, so my five. You did your two, right, Chris?
Yes.
All right, awesome. I did two also, but one of them is only 4 words, so I'm giving Andrew a little.
Are you taking some?
No. It's only 4, so I'm giving
okay.
Andrew credit for the future because usually Andrew does like a 6 or a 7 sometimes.
Yeah, both mine were 5 this time.
Yeah, I'm proud. My first one is a genre-defining film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Most certainly.
This is a movie that created a genre to the point that there are TV shows where you go, oh, this is the Die Hard episode,
Yep.
Yeah.
or there's an episode in Star Trek where it's like, oh, all the crews disappeared and it's down to one guy and they have to save the day. It's like, oh, this is the Die Hard episode. There's a TV show, one of my favorite shows called Leverage. They do the Die Hard trope so effectively that the guy even says yippee-ki-yay, mother, and then they cut to him saying found it. And they actually do the part on the radio where he's radioing out to the cops outside to stall them so that they can escape. Anyway, it's a really great moment. My second 5 word is a perfect Christmas action movie.
Okay.
There you go.
So I just added Christmas in there.
I mean, it's not a family-friendly movie. by
No,
any
it's
chance,
not.
but,
It's not.
you know.
Though I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure the
Well,
first
depends
time
on
I
your
watched
family.
this was with my dad. I'm pretty sure that's true.
Yeah.
And I would have been probably 13 or so when I watched it with him for the first time.
Yeah, I don't think I ever watched this until college. It was one of those movies my parents would not let me see.
I've taught high school for 14 years, and this is the first year, well, second year, but first year in a long time that I've worked with middle schoolers again. I don't think family-friendly film means the same thing as it used to.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way.
Dude, Chris, have you seen
I was gonna say, I'm a
Squid
bit
Game?
younger than you guys, and I'm like sitting here thinking to myself, I can't wait to show my kids this movie.
How old are your kids?
I don't have any yet.
Oh,
I'm,
okay, I get it.
28 right now,
Oh,
but
okay,
when I do
okay.
have kids, they'll see this one for sure.
Right on.
I was really hoping you were going to be like, oh, they're 4 and 5.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was expecting, honestly. No, so have any of I can't remember, guys. I know Andrew and Sam, we've chatted. Have we all seen Squid Game?
I haven't.
I have.
I have. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not going to spoil anything about this. This is not what this is for. Just to say that when you said, family friendly is different, my son comes home 2 weeks ago and says, our class got in trouble for playing Squid Games. And I said, what do you mean you were playing Squid Games? And I said, you were just playing like red light, green light? And he says, yeah. And I said, well, what's wrong with that? And he goes, well, because we had the person that was doing the red light, green light, but next to them were two people with finger guns, and if you got seen, you get shot. And I'm like, okay. And I said, how did you know to call it Squid Game? And he goes, well, my friends told me. And I said, how did they know?
They're out there watching.
And he says, because they watched it. And I said,
jeez.
They watched Squid Games? And he says, yeah. And I said, do you know what it's about? And he says, yeah. And I'm like, how do they watch this?
Oh.
And it's either bad parenting or absent parenting.
Yeah.
It's either just sit down and watch Netflix, I don't care what you watch, or it's, well, it says game in it, so I'm sure it's fine. It's the same parents that took their 9-year-old to see Deadpool because it's Marvel.
Yeah.
The euphemistic take on that is, well, we're exposing my children to South Korean filmmaking.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Lots of death and bad language and stuff. Anyway, I have a 9-year-old, and that's too much. All right, off that soapbox. Time for this. Okay, so I took way more notes on this movie than I intended to. For a movie that I've seen easily 15 times now. And the note that I wrote in all caps, this is for Andrew and Sam. So Chris, you'll enjoy this little story. So rewind 2 months back in October, and we're chatting. I don't remember if we were on air or if we were in group chat or if it was after the episode. But we were talking about candy bars that we like for Halloween. And I mentioned loving a Crunch bar. And these two jackanapes got all like, oh, Crunch bar, what are you, 4? Blah, blah, blah. We only eat Toblerone because we're all high and mighty on our big horses and we make lots of money. Blah, blah, blah. So they were shitting on my Crunch bar. So then Al Leong is sitting there waiting for the cops to show up, and he eats a freaking Crunch bar. So suck it, Sam and Andrew. If it's good enough for Al Leong,
on that, hoping that you caught it, and I was going to mention it earlier, but when I saw him steal the Crunch bar, I rolled my eyes out loud and thought of you, because no one above the age of 5 loves the Crunch bar.
Oh, I love it.
How much did Nestle pay for that?
So that was that's in the trivia. So that was actually an improv shot. Basically, the shot's he's just supposed to just stand there. And then he just thought it would be kind of funny, because there's all this kind of serious moment. He just thought it would be funny if he just reached down and grabbed the thing. So he went to the director and said, hey, can I do this? I don't want to get in trouble with the props department. And he's like, yeah, go for it. Just do whatever. And so he just reaches in and grabs a Crunch bar. So I don't know if that was an intentional product placement like the Coke is. But,
that's hilarious.
Because there's no reason to give him a Coke if you know you're going to shoot him in the head in 5 minutes. So
it's like a cigarette before the firing squad.
Well, that's what I took it as, right?
No, that's fair.
They knew they were going to kill him. Might as well give him a cigarette.
Give him a Coke. No, okay, that's fair. I never thought of it like that, but yeah, you're right. Booby. Okay.
I do have a very serious question.
Yeah.
Why do they call it Die Hard? I've always wondered the name. It just for some reason in my mind, it makes no sense.
Okay.
I mean, Hard to Die, sure. It sounds like a Bond, movie, but sure. Die Hard, like, what exactly is that saying?
It's saying this is a badass film and you should watch it.
Just think who comes up with Die Hard.
Well, I'm trying to remember because this is based on a book, but I don't think that that the name of the book is called that either.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's something else.
I read it earlier and I've forgotten what it is, but yeah, it's not Die Hard.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Right?
Nothing Lasts Forever is the
There you go.
novel.
Yeah. There you go.
Which
sounds like a rom-com.
well, and I don't even know that. Does that make sense?
Nothing Lasts Forever.
Is it-
Actually, that sounds like a Bond film.
That doesn't fit this movie to me. Like if they were to call it Nothing Lasts Forever.
Well, the story is kind of different. There's the group is a legit terrorist group. It actually is a standoff that takes 3 days as opposed to one night. John McClane and effectively is paralyzed at the end.
Oh dear Lord!
Like he kind of loses a lot in the book. I think his daughter is killed, also in the book. Spoiler.
Holy crap!
Yeah. So it's different.
So it's more like the Polar Express for a Christmas story.
What? What is this? What is this analogy? All right, let's ride
Well,
this.
I'm just saying, stiffs and just not lower extremities not working. It's kind of like Polar Express. We're trying to compare it.
I have no idea where you're going. Usually, when you bring up Polar Express, it's just because of the dead eyes. I didn't, but
Yeah.
I'm just. If anyone at home has any idea what Sam's talking about, feel free to email us. I'll send you a sticker if you can figure it out what he's trying to say.
I'll interpret if I can. The dead eyes. I've seen a meme online that was like, since until I became an adult, I thought that these dead-eyed CGI characters were what European people looked like.
Wow, nice.
Spoilers, they don't.
Yeah, to our European listener, that no offense.
And this is so random, but in our episode last week, we had a download in Pakistan, so we get to add Pakistan to our list of countries that's listened to our episodes. To our podcast.
Now those people do have dead eyes. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Good Lord.
I'm kidding.
Andrew's Mai Tai, not his Mai Tai, his hot toddy is
no, we can say Amish people do though, because they don't listen.
They don't listen,
They
so
don't
we can
know.
offend them because they can't.
It's fine. You say everything you want about.
Unless they're on their sabbatical or whatever they call the
Rumspringa.
Rumspringa.
Look at you pulling that out. Nice.
Yeah.
Except for that one Amish actor that's really famous.
Yeah, who's apparently in this movie. Okay. So Andrew has a couple nitpicks, and I think that's okay. I think this is a nearly perfect film, but I do have a couple nitpicks, and that's mostly with the police. Now, I know the police are supposed to be represented as kind of dumb and inept, but and I have some cop buddies that like hate movies like this because he gets so mad saying they wouldn't do this kind of a thing. So the parts that kind of annoy me is, for one, when you see the teams kind of getting in position, and then Carl's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing? You're not going in there, are you?" And he's like, "Yeah, we got to go in there." And then, so it looks like there's like 30 guys mobilizing, and then it's the next shot. It's just 4. It's just 4 guys. And so I'm still trying to get the logic behind. We think there are multiple terrorists, right? Because we know at the very least there were, when Reginald V. Johnson, the real actor's name, but the character Carl, when Carl was getting shot, he was getting shot up by like an MG-42, right? Like it was a machine gun. So they obviously
4 guys is all you need.
Yeah, that just seemed ridiculous that it was just 4, right? So the plan was to go up with the little lock picking kit and pick the lock, right? So why are you trying to pick the lock? There's literally glass on either side of you. Okay, just shoot the glass and walk in. But then you say, no, Sean, they don't want to have to damage the building unnecessarily. Then why bring in the car where they're supposed to drive through the building?
What if they were just being cautious in case somebody wasn't wearing shoes?
That's my problem, is that the joke is well received, Andrew. But because then they bring blowtorch guy up, right? Welder guy, whatever. He's going to cut the lock. I don't understand. And like the guy they're sitting in the open. I mean, they deserve to get shot. Is all I'm saying. I just
Oh, dude.
they sucked. They sucked at their jobs.
Oh man.
The guy's cover was a glass door. I don't understand it. Those cops were the worst. The shot is really cool, especially when the rocket launcher shoots the RV coming up. I keep calling it RV. That's what the hacker man called it. But the I don't know what you'd call that. It was a battering ram on wheels is all it was that can't handle stairs. But I just the whole assault.
The year was 1988, and they hadn't invented a portable battering ram apparently.
Exactly. Again, it was a cool shot. Like I understand McTiernan was like, wouldn't it be cool if like we showed the LAPD as inept because we're pretty recently with the LA riots with this stuff, right? Wasn't the LA riots like 86 or something? Sam, you were there.
Time.
You were watching the news and drinking coffee back then.
That was 92, but
it
soon
was.
to be because of the ineptitude, I guess.
92. Okay. So.
Yeah, people saw this and they were like, "Hey, look how dumb these guys are. We can do this."
Where's Nakatomi Plaza?
Right.
Let me add it.
Okay. Anyway, that's one of my nitpicks is that the cops really suck, and that all. I mean, again, it proves McClane right, and then we do get the cool scene with the C4 and the computer monitor, which was again, it's a cool shot how they did it, and how they did it is really cool. I'm trying to think if I captured that.
I read somewhere that all the explosions in this movie were real explosions.
Yeah, so all the stuff outside was real, and then how they did the C4 is basically they bought every flash bulb they could find in Orange County, and they rigged them to that second story floor. So the flash that you see was a real flash from these lights, and then they superimposed another explosion
on top of that.
On top of it.
Huh.
But so that light reaction is real. I think that's pretty neat. Pretty way to do it. I also like how this movie really hates the media. Media are dicks.
Is that the same guy from Ghostbusters, by the way?
Yes,
it is. Yeah.
Okay. It's out of the way, Peck.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not the guy from Willow, but yes, his name is Peck in Ghostbusters. Out of the way, Peck. It would be great if Bill Murray would have said that.
Yeah.
No, it's the same guy. And then he comes back in Die Hard 2 and also is a dick.
He's actually credited as a dick in Die Hard 2.
Yeah, he just
Is it in? I can't remember. Is it the L.A. airport? What is the?
They're in Washington. They're in the Dulles airport.
Washington. Okay.
Yeah.
But there is Pacific Bell telephone booths in the shots.
Okay.
And the wiring when the one guy goes ham with the chainsaw while the other guy's like down on his knees trying to clip some wires together. It's like, do not open unless you're Pacific Bell Company.
So I had a question about that. Was he cutting phone wires with that chainsaw?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right. Because at first I thought that was like power. And I thought if you're cutting power with a chainsaw, it's going to fry your chainsaw. And you're not gonna survive that.
I think it was either phone lines or security lines or data lines or something like that. Like the movie doesn't tell you what it is, which is fine because he's having to like crimp stuff, so it made it seem like he's like closing the loop so that information can't leave the building. And
I was under the impression that he was like panicking because he needed to make sure that whatever wires he was crimping were connected to an outside alarm, and had he not done that, if there had been a sudden failure, then the alarm would have sounded automatically. So that was the one point where I was like, these terrorists, like, for how well thought everything is, like, they have every step of the way planned out, and then this guy comes in with a chainsaw and it's because you got 7 seconds to figure
it's because they're brothers, right? He's just being a dick brother. Right? And saying like that's the thing a brother would do, right? Legit, like that's something Sam would do to me. Is like if I was, and I've been on a job site with Sam, if he had hired me to wire the AV and I'm sitting there wiring a speaker cable, and all of a sudden Sam just comes over and goes, "Sean, you have 30 seconds to finish that, or I'm gonna spackle over you." And like, you know what I'm saying? Like I could see Sam totally doing that, but you know, like I have to put the plate on before the spackle comes by. So yeah, I get it. Even though I'm an only child, I understand that. It's just their brother being a dick.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Last couple notes I wrote. I love that the Ode to Joy is the bad guys theme when they're getting the money. I love that part. I think that's great.
So
And
you said Andrew, you said Moonlight's or I'm sorry, you said there was a pretty famous song that's played in minor.
Yeah, it's Beethoven's Ninth, which is Ode to Joy. Yeah.
Okay. I definitely kept picking up on that. I was like, is this a Christmas song? But in like, you know,
Right.
dark side. Dark
Yeah,
side
no,
mode.
like it. You hear Ode to Joy sometimes, and I guess you don't really associate it with Christmas, because I guess it's not really a Christmas song. But in this one, they kind of make it feel like a Christmas song. You know,
Yep.
I'm with you.
I really liked that actually. I thought the whole like Christmas motif was real strong in this film throughout.
well, yeah, I
and
love that.
I know that we said we're not going to argue the fact that people debate, but I'm in the camp that there's enough Christmas in this to make this a Christmas movie.
Well, I mean, even the music itself has a lot of bells. You know, just kind
Yeah,
of
like
that.
sleigh bells.
Those
and-
sleigh bells, they use that a lot, and that really kind of hammers home just a Christmas feeling. Just with the musical side of things. The music, by the
Y'all-
way, is written
oh.
by Michael Kamen. We know him
Michael Caine.
most notably from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Yeah,
Probably our
the best.
Yeah, that's probably our favorite Michael Kamen joint. And I recently heard him in The Highlander when I was on the Sudden But Inevitable podcast a few weeks ago, and we did that movie that had Michael Kamen. In fact, I accused Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves of stealing music from Highlander, not realizing it was the same guy. Because I was watching that, because I'd never seen Highlander. I'm watching him going, man, Michael Kamen, who did Prince of Thieves, just straight up ripped some stuff from this movie because it's note for note. And then I looked it up. Oh, it's the same guy. He's just borrowing from himself. Never mind.
Can I throw this out there? I really liked Mr. Takagi, I think his name is, the executive that gets executed. I don't know why this stood out to me, but I loved when Alan Rickman's character Hans Gruber was like listing off his entire bio in front of the whole party, and he mentions that he was in a World War II internment camp.
Yeah.
I felt like that added like some depth to his character, added a little gumption to him. And one other thing that I wanted to say was, can we talk about Fabio rolling the hockey puck flashbang grenade at the very beginning? I was like, oh, I've never seen a flashbang like that.
Yeah.
I honestly thought it was an Oreo. Like I thought
Me
that
too.
he dropped a cookie or something, and I was like, oh, maybe he's just doing that to distract him. And then it like blew up.
And then it blows up. Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
No, you're not. You're not the only one. Yeah, that's a weird little thing, but whatever. It's fine. It just like I understand that these guys are well financed and they have all these guns and whatever. The rocket launcher still kind of cracks me up. It's like, how in the heck did they get that? It's like, okay, everybody's
Not just
got
one, but three.
Yeah, they got 3 rockets with the launcher tube. Yeah, I mean, it's not just the fact that they all have MP5 submachine guns. It's just that they can get a rocket launcher as well. So it's
Don't forget the AUG too. A little Swedish. I think it's Swedish.
that's what Blonde Fabio was using.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty sweet little weapon there. Right on. The last couple notes I have. Let's see. The part where he almost falls out of the building because the water hose has got him by the waist and he's about to slide out. That always makes me pucker my butt. I mean, seriously, like that scene still affects me every time I see it. It's just, that is a fear of mine, is being dragged out of a tall building like against my will. Ugh. That's one that gets me every time. Cool.
Same. I'm terrified of heights, so anytime there's a glass window that's been shattered on a skyscraper, I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Something bad's about to happen.
Right. Actually, here's
and by the way, that's not how that type of glass works. It won't shatter into shards. It's more of a pebble.
It's like a windshield in a car, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Last couple notes. There was one other one that I thought was kind of funny. So the line when John meets Ellis for the first time, right? Booby, when I watched this as a kid, and I say kid again, I was 13, 14, 15 when I watched this. I had no concept of what cocaine was. I had no idea what it was. So I had no idea that's what Ellis was doing. And
you just thought he had sinus problems.
I did, honestly did. He's just in there, he's in there blowing his nose or something.
Allergies.
Yeah, and then when John says missed some, he's letting Ellis know that he's still got cocaine on his face, right? And I was probably after college watching this, and I went, "Oh, now I get that line."
Not a crusty he's talking about.
Yeah, I just as a kid, I just took it as I don't know what it means. I'm not going to ask. It's a line that I didn't understand. You're probably right, Andrew. Honestly, I probably thought, yeah, he's got a bug. He just needs to take care of it.
Wait. Okay, so Ellis, so he snorted cocaine. Do you think when he asked for Coke, he wasn't asking for a can of Coke?
Oh, that's
just
brilliant.
Line.
I would love the idea. He sits down and says, "I can give them to you," and he gives that big smile and he goes, "Can I have a Coke?" And he brings the Coke can, and that would have been really great if there was this scene where he's like, "That's not what I meant." Okay, that's fine. Because he does snort some before he goes in there. Like he has to be high energy before he gets in there.
He amped himself up. Yeah.
In every movie, I think there's a character that we're all kind of happy that the guy got it. I'm okay with this death.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, that typical 80s, Wall Street type of attitude. It's a character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd close $5 million deals for breakfast. I think I can handle this Euro trash. Hey, sprechen Sie English?
You know who I wasn't okay with dying, and I was actually kind of shocked, was Mr. Takagi. And I don't know, I just really liked his energy when he was on screen the whole time. Like he had a joke early on. He's like, Pearl Harbor didn't work out, so we got you with the tape decks.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Mr. Takagi, coming out swinging with the good jokes. Okay, I see you.
Yeah, he was great. He's a good actor, and he's really good at it. So I do want to spend about a minute here, or however long. We haven't talked enough, I think, about Alan Rickman and how good he was in this role.
Oh yeah,
this was his theatrical debut. This is his first film.
Right? Oh really?
Yeah, this is his first film.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So there's a great bit of trivia I read where McTiernan and one of the writers, I didn't see who it is, they're watching a play and Rickman is in this play, and they saw him perform and they're like, "That's our Hans Gruber." And so they approached him to do the role, and so they brought him into audition, and he's like he felt he kind of felt bad about getting this role, being that he had been in Hollywood for 5 minutes and then lands a feature film. And then he was also a little worried that he was going to get typecasted as the bad guy. And which is what I think honestly makes the casting of him as Severus Snape brilliant.
It's perfect.
It
Absolutely
makes
perfect.
Just brilliant. Yep. So good on you, Christopher Columbus, or Chris Columbus, I should say, for casting him as Snape, because that was brilliant.
For discovering America.
Yeah.
Quote unquote.
That too. Making a kids
sail the ocean blue.
A kids franchise and that other thing too.
Yeah.
Okay. So Alan Rickman. So again, real quick, some of the little micro. Again, his American accent was funny. Oh, I'm Bill Clay. Don't shoot me. You're one of them. His accent's ridiculous, but it was still great.
His American accent was better than the German.
Well, you're true. the parts that I really like from him is his micro expressions. So like when Theo is explaining everything and he walks into the room and sees the vault for the first time, that's just the door. Like he is kind of in awe of a door and he just kind of zones out and you could see him just kind of zone out. And then you see his eyes shift back to Theo and goes, I'm sorry. Like he has to apologize for not listening because of the door. And the other part that I really love is when Blonde Fabio and Hans are talking, and then Ellis comes to the door. And so Fabio reaches for his pistol in his belt. And Hans just gives him a look, shakes his head very slightly no, and then looks over at the guard at the door and just gives him the yes nod. And it's all just super small, even though the camera's
very subtle.
It's very subtle, and the camera's on his face, so it's large movements on screen. And he's like, that's just so clever. Like, I don't have to say any words, and I just gave 2 orders to 2 different people. I really love that kind of stuff. It's really great. Okay. Anything else we want to say before I play clips?
No, go for it.
Yeah.
All right.
Covered it.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on. I got a clip for you. Hang on.
Oh, okay. Is this the music from my episode last week?
Did you guys hear that one?
No.
Okay, sorry. All right, let's go on to clips.
I didn't know if you were making fun of me for loading the wrong file from last week.
Maybe that might be making
Yeah,
fun of you.
that's
Okay.
good. That is good.
Nice.
I love it.
I took the high road earlier. I decided I'd venture back down to the low road.
Nice. Thank you. All right. This just says clip number 1. I don't know what this is, so here you go.
So Kareem rebounds, right? Feeds Worthy on the break, over to AC, to Magic, then back to Worthy, right? Boom! 2 points.
There you go. I like that guy. He was funny. Every time he was on camera, he was great.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the radio lady. This was all funny.
It's the same address as that fire signal. I'll handle it.
Attention, whoever you are, this channel is reserved for emergency calls only.
No shit, lady! Do I sound like I'm ordering a pizza?
They have already killed 1 hostage. They are fortifying their positions while you're jerking me off on the radio. Now send the police
Sir,
back
I've
up
already
ASAP.
told you, this is a reserved channel. If this is an emergency call, dial 911 on your telephone. Otherwise, I'll have to report this as an FCC violation.
Fine. Report me. Come the down here and arrest me. Just send the police.
I didn't realize it was going to be a 30-second song. Sorry. But I love that whole bit. It's just, again, like, how much yelling into a radio do you need to do before you're like, maybe there's something wrong here?
Yeah, the cops are just really dumb in this movie.
Yeah. Either that or just LA is just so full of idiots with radios that this just kind of thing happens all the time. I don't know.
But not in New York. New York cops are apparently unkillable and brilliant.
Oh yeah.
Well, so there's a joke. So I don't know if our 2 Die Hard virgins has seen. Have either one of you seen Die Hard 2? Then
I don't think so.
it's the one at the airport. No.
I want to say I think I have, but honestly, at this point, I'm questioning everything that I've ever seen.
No, that's fair. So even in that movie, they make fun of L.A. So there's a, McClane is at an airport. There's a couple bad guys there. He stops them from doing a thing. Then the guy who's in charge of the police at the airport, who's the dude from like NYPD Blue, he's like, "Good job, you capped some lowlife. I'll give your commander in L.A. A call that you should get a commendation." He's like, "Look, I'm a cop from New York. I just moved to L.A. for my wife." Like even in that movie, they're making fun of L.A. as if like being an LAPD is lower than being on the, the police in D.C. That's just kind of funny to me. All right.
I wanted to throw this out there, and I don't think we've talked about it thus far, but how about the guy in the very first shot of the movie who is telling John McClane how to get over flying cross country?
Yeah.
And you need to ball your feet up on a rug without your socks. I don't know why, but next time I fly across country, first of all, I'm doing that. And secondly, it's those small things that are just kind of like odd, like the Crunch Bar, for example, that I really feel like give this movie a lot of character. So I love that. I love the little details that are just kind of like off the beaten path a little bit.
Well, they needed a reason why John was taking his socks off, right? We had to get him barefoot so that he would be. We wanted to make our character more vulnerable, right?
Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize. I didn't put two and two together. That's why he was barefooted.
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't either, honestly.
I
love that though.
Yeah, the movie needed him to do
little
it. We needed a way to get his feet off, his shoes off without Tarantino coming in and saying we need to see your feet. But so that's what they came up with. Some people argue that it's really dumb. Like, if you're uncomfortable in a plane, then are you still going to be uncomfortable from that plane ride after you get through baggage claim, getting on a limo, riding for 30 minutes, going upstairs, being kissed by a man, have a drink, have an argument with your wife, and then go and you say like that was like 2 hours later.
Mm-hmm.
Does he still?
Some people call that jet lag.
I always just looked at it as it wasn't that he doesn't like flying, but because the guy said it's better than a hot shower and a cup of coffee. I didn't look at that as it's a way to calm your nerves. I looked at it as a way to just kind of rejuvenate your spirit. You're just recharging the batteries. And so you just take your socks and shoes off and make fists with your toes in the carpet. And I've done that before, and I can't do it because, like, it bothers my feet. Like, it basically tickles my feet, and I can't do it. But I'm also a wuss, so it's fine. Don't call me weird. You're weird. All right. I'm contractually obligated to play this one.
Come out to the coast. We'll get together. Have a few laughs.
There you go. I did like this clip.
It was the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring except the four assholes coming in the rear in standard 2x2 cover formation.
Though he says coming in the rear, they shot them through the front door.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, whatever, not a problem. This is a great little interaction too.
I've got 100 people down here, and they're covered with glass.
Glass? Who gives a shit about glass? What the fuck is this?
This is Deputy Chief of Police Dwayne T. Robinson, and I am in charge of this situation.
Oh, you're in charge? Well, I got some bad news for you, Dwayne. From up here, it doesn't look like you're in charge of jack shit.
You listen to me, you little asshole.
Asshole? I'm not the one who just got butt on national TV, Dwayne.
Dwayne. I love he says that. Oh, that's great. I know it's funny, but I hate every second of this.
Hans. Bobby.
Ugh, I hate that. And that was also a line he improvised. That was an improv line.
Hans. Bobby.
Okay. I have always wanted to know what the guy on the phone says to warrant this response.
This is Agent Johnson. No, the other one.
What does the guy say?
Said Big Johnson or Little Johnson?
I want to think he says the black guy, and he says no, the other one.
This is Agent Johnson. No, the other one.
Like, what does the guy? What could someone say in that half beat to elicit the response? I mean, I know it's just a punchline. It's just a joke, right? It's a throwaway joke, but it's still, just the other one. I don't get that. It's just so funny. And then this is one last little joke here.
Gonna need some more FBI guys, I guess.
I like that part too. All right. We mentioned the soundtrack before, and this is a really interesting thing. So at the end of the movie, there is a musical cue after Carl has saved the day by shooting the Amish guy with his gun. And we get this piece of music that kind of doesn't fit any other part of the movie. All right? So I'm going to play for you some of it here. So that's in Die Hard, right? And every time I hear it, it reminds me of Star Trek. Star Trek 2.
Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna say E.T. or Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Well, those are both John Williams pieces of music. And James Horner did Star Trek 2. And the reason why it reminds me of Star Trek 2 is because that piece of music was written by James Horner. This particular cue was written by James Horner. It's in my trivia here. I copied this one down. The music cue when Powell shoots Carl at the end of the film was actually an unused track from James Horner's Academy Award nominated score, Aliens. Specifically, the music was originally intended for a scene near the end of the film in which Ripley battles with the alien queen on board the Sulaco. Instead, an earlier music cue was reused, leaving the cue available for this film. A second music cue scored by John Scott for the film Man on Fire, 1987, was also used. The music can be heard when John and Holly meet Powell at the end of the movie. So, I don't know why. I don't know if Michael Kamen, what he wrote there.
Okay.
If McTiernan didn't like it, and he was just like, is there any other music we can use out there that's under, the 20th Century Fox umbrella? I don't know why you do that, but the music is so, it's almost jarring how different it is.
Mm-hmm.
From Ode to Joy to...
Yeah.
Like I literally feel like Kirk and Khan are about to get into a space battle.
It's a very heroic theme.
Very,
very much so.
Also, if you're gonna keep saying Michael Caine, I'm gonna misquote Batman. I won't bury another Wayne.
Well, we I don't remember what movie it was, but we learned that if you want to say Michael Caine with a good accent, just try to say my cocaine. And it just kind of...
Like cocaine.
Yeah, you're just
like cocaine.
Yeah, Michael Caine.
Yep, there you go.
These are some old callbacks. I don't know when we did that episode, but there it is.
Ellis from Die Hard has entered the chat.
Yeah, exactly. Time for this.
And now for some more bad news. Ready?
All right, a little bit of trivia here before we wrap up. The fictional Nakatomi Plaza is the headquarters of 20th Century Fox. The company charged itself rent for the use of the then unfinished building.
Okay.
Yeah.
See,
kind of
the IRS.
Okay.
The IRS is like, oh, did you?
Yeah, that sounds real.
Yeah.
On Alan Rickman's first day of shooting, he filmed the scene where Hans Gruber first runs into John McClane. He has to make a jump off a ledge about 3 feet high. He injured himself when he landed and damaged some cartilage in his knee. He was told by his doctor not to put any weight on that leg. He had to use crutches for a week. For the rest of the scene where Hans is standing and talking to John, Alan Rickman is standing on one leg for the entire time and has a leg brace under his pants. Talk about a badass. I just think that's awesome.
Is that a leg brace, or you happy to see me?
Yeah. The film's ending had not been finalized by the time the filming had started. One result is that the truck depicted as transporting the terrorists to the building is too small to house them and the ambulance that was later revealed to be inside it. Other scenes also lack context. The building's computer room was built before anyone knew what it would be used for. I'm surprised neither one of you picked up on the fact that he drives an ambulance out of the same truck that they're all standing clearly in the back of.
Yeah, I did miss that.
It's okay.
And they had to fit all those rocket launchers in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all that ammunition. Okay, time for this.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Top 3. Boy, this is a cool category, I think. We decided to do top 3 Die Hard type movies. And we're just kind of categorizing. Boy, I can't say that word. we're putting this in the category of movies where it's kind of one or a few versus many, and usually you're kind of in a singular place for the most part. I think that we're not hard on those rules, but I think that's pretty good. Okay, who goes first? Sam goes first, right?
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, crap. And I've accidentally closed it out. But I remember it being very easy to remember because I had Air Force One on there, Die Hard in a Plane, of course. I had Olympus Has Fallen, Die Hard at the White House, and then, what was my number one? Crap. I'm sure you guys are going to repeat it at some point, but I don't remember. My number one is, that's horrible.
Oh, okay.
Bewitched.
Yeah. Yeah. Hold on.
Flubber.
Toy Soldiers.
Oh, yeah.
Flubber. Okay.
I could not fit Jurassic Park in there. I wanted to. But,
yeah.
Yeah. Not quite.
No, not quite. I'm trying to think of any, like even just a singular scene would that work, but no, not really. Okay. Chris. I don't know why my voice cracked just then. Chris.
You happy to hear from me, Sean?
Yes.
So my first would be Speed.
Okay.
Die Hard on a Bus.
Sure.
And then my second would probably be, I'll see if you guys can guess what movie I'm talking about. Die Hard with a Dog.
The dog.
Murdered Dog.
Die Hard
Old
with
Yeller.
a dog.
Old Yeller.
Not
Turner and Hooch.
I was gonna say Canine.
Go ahead, Sean.
No.
John Wick.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of there. Yeah.
Us, me versus them.
Yep.
Situation.
Okay. Was that it? Was that all three? I can't count.
I should have brought three, but I only had two.
That's fine. Two's fine. No problem.
That works.
Yeah.
Don't judge me.
No, you're the guest. We don't do any judging like that. I'll judge the hell out of Sam and Andrew, but all right. So several of mine have already been said. Olympus Has Fallen and Air Force One. So I will switch one out with. So my number one is going to now be The Rock.
Yeah.
With,
that was
your Nicolas Cage and.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Can I interject something for a second?
Yes, please.
I have to plug this. My dad was an extra in The Rock, actually.
That's cool.
Really? Yeah, that's awesome.
He was. I'm a Navy brat, so he was in the Navy. He was stationed at Mare Island in California when they were filming it, and he was one of the helicopter pilots walking by before they took off to go land in Alcatraz. And yeah, so
that's awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
A little cool thing. He got to meet Sean Connery and Nick Cage, so
that's awesome.
I'm a little jelly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, sure. No, that's really cool. That's really cool. What did your dad do in the Navy?
He was he was a chaplain, so no flight experience. I mean, he flew in planes, but never flew them. So
right on. All right, that's very cool. Okay. So yeah, The Rock is going to be my one. I too, Sam, was trying to find a way to connect it to Star Trek. There are Star Trek episodes, but we typically stick to movies. So there's not really a movie, a Star Trek movie where it's that kind of thing. Not really. No, not really. Beyond is kind of like that, but again, not really. All right. Twitter. I will go to Twitter now. Twitter has been, there's a pretty fun feed going on right now with a couple of listeners between Jesse and Rosie, who's one of our awesome listeners. She's giving him shit for having that scene. It's kind of great. Jesse, I love you, man. I give you just watch whatever you want to watch. Watch what makes you happy is all I have to say. Maxton writes in and says, Speed. Olympus Has Fallen, and he says Olympus Has Fallen, Die Hard in the White House. White House down, Die Hard in the White House, but with Jamie Foxx. Cam from Green Shirt says, Green Shirt Podcast, a newbie's trek through Next Generation. He says Speed, The Rock, and The Raid. Which I'm actually surprised, Sam, you didn't say The Raid.
No.
I thought
you've seen
about that. I thought you've seen that one.
Yeah. I would have put The Rock before The Raid, though.
Sure. I still need to see The Raid. I need to see it. I've seen clips from it. It looks awesome. I need to watch it. Stork at Besotted Geek Pod, I hope I said that right, says Under Siege. And then Jesse says he's not seen the movie, but the best he can do is season 6, the Next Generation episode, Starship Mine. So again, there are some other TV shows that do this kind of thing. So yeah, that's it. Thank you all for participating on Twitter with that little fun thing there. Oh, I'm sorry. And the Wheel of Horror podcast at Horror Wheel says the Matrix. Okay. Lord of the Rings and ROTS, The Rise of Skywalker? No, ROTS.
Revenge of the Sith?
Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, okay. Okay, sure.
So it's Anakin versus children?
Yeah. I'm not sure really any of those are a Die Hard kind of movie, but...
They got dark.
Lord of the Rings kind of works. Lord of the Rings 2, I guess, is kind of a few versus many. And by few, I mean, 300 versus thousands.
You also have a Return of the King where Frodo and Sam are going across Mordor, which is a little like...
Yeah, but they're not killing anyone. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it was also like they were also killing all of the orcs in Mordor while they were doing it. All right. Andrew, I didn't forget.
Are you sure? Because you almost moved on.
I did. I really did.
Don't try to cover.
I had the mouse on the clip to play next.
All right. So my 3, I have Panic Room.
All right. That's a good one.
And then The Negotiator.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. He doesn't kill anyone, though. No one dies.
That's true. But it's kind of him against everybody else.
It is him versus the cops. He just doesn't shoot any of them.
And then number 1, I have Home Alone.
I love that one.
That works.
I love that one.
That works. That's good.
It's the kids' version of Die Hard.
Yeah. I had one that I brought up to you guys before we started recording, and I don't actually think it fits the mold here, but Predator?
Well, yeah, I mean...
And Predator is John McClane?
Yeah, Predator would have to be John McClane because it's one versus a bunch, right? So it would have to.
He's just trying to get back to his family.
Is he though? Thought he was there to
Is he though?
I did forget one. I don't know if you mentioned it or not, but I did forget the only Steven Seagal movie that I believe is watchable, and that is Under Siege.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of Die Hard-esque.
It is. Oh yeah. Well, yeah, and that was mentioned too. Yeah, that's Under Siege on a boat or on a sub. And the Under Siege 2 is Die Hard on a train.
Yeah.
All right, time for this.
Wait, what's supposed to happen?
This is where we give our score out of 10. I give this movie a score from 0 to 10. And I will start this time. We're going to change things up today, and I'm going to start with Sam.
All right. It's a flipping classic. It's another one, like you said, a genre busting film. It came in and created a whole new type of movie. I got to give it a good 8.9 out of 10.
All right, 8.9. Andrew.
I am going to go a little higher, actually. I'm going to go a 9.2.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Chris.
Solid 8.5. I loved this movie. And honestly, the more it's one that like I feel like the more I watch it, the more I'll probably like it. So after rewatching it 2 or 3 times, it'll probably graduate to a 9. But for now, I'll stay safe.
That's pretty fair to say, because I mean I've seen this movie, like I said, easily 15 or so times now, and it's one of those movies where like it's not like I pick up on something new each time, but like I don't know, like you appreciate something different. Oh, there's a great piece of trivia that I didn't mention, and I guess I didn't write it down because I thought this was a piece of trivia that like everyone knew, but knowing now that half the squad here hasn't seen the movie. So when Hans Gruber is at the end of the movie and he is dropped from the building and he has this great look of surprise on his face, that's because the stuntman physically holding him to the ledge where the camera is looking down at him, he was going to be dropped about 20 feet into an airbag, right? And so they said, okay, we're going to do it on the count of 3. 1, 2, and they let him go on 2. So he wasn't. So the look of surprise is genuine because he was not ready. He wasn't expecting the release. So that's why when he falls, he has this great look of kind of panic on his face because he wasn't ready for it. So
don't you hate it when you're not expecting the release and it happens?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's terrible.
As we get older, that happens more. Chris, we'll find out in about a decade. Anyway, when I did this movie 6 years ago with Steve, and I gave it a 9.5. I'm sticking with it. It's a 9.5 for me. I love this movie. Nice. It's in my top 10 films of all time. I was so stoked to watch it. To your point, Andrew, way earlier in our episode, you talked about some bad audio work. I didn't notice it this time because, in fairness, I didn't watch this movie with the full sound system that I normally do. I was watching it on my TV in the office with the shitty TV speakers that come with the TV. So
yeah. Well, if you watch it again, which I know you will, it's the scene right after he gets in the limo.
He gets in the limo. I'll listen back for it. Yeah, I'll definitely do that. I'll do that. Okay, that's the show. That's the podcast. That's not the podcast. I have something else to say. Gosh dang it! I keep forgetting this game. Last week or 2 weeks ago, the last episode, our quote was, "I love the smell of napalm in the morning." Great quote. Everyone knows it, though not everybody knows what movie it's from, but that's okay. Today's quote is a little bit longer, and I had to look it up because I wanted to know what this meant. So this is the quote game. Again, the quote game is if you know the quote, email me or tweet me or Facebook message me or text me. Just say, hey, I know what this is. This is the quote. This is the movie. I'll mail you a sticker. So this is the quote. Quote, resolution number 1. Ugh, will obviously lose 20 pounds. Number 2, always put last night's panties in the laundry basket. Equally important, will find nice, sensible boyfriend and stop forming romantic attachments to any of the following. Alcoholics, workaholics, sexaholics, commitment phobics, peeping toms, megalomaniacs, emotional, I can't say that word, F-wits, or perverts. Will especially stop fantasizing about a particular person who embodies all of these things. That's the quote.
That's a long quote.
It is really that. It might be one of the longer ones on the big poster there. So if you know what that is, feel free to send me a message and I will send you a sticker. All right.
I mean, there's some educated guesses you can take with all that information.
Yeah. I would actually be interested to hear what you guys think that is off air. All right, this is now the time where I say, Chris, thank you so much for joining us. Please tell our listeners where they can find your show because your show is hilarious.
First and foremost, I want to say thank you, gentlemen, for allowing me to be a part of this. And thank you for pushing me to watch this movie finally. I needed like the Game of Thrones shame bell to push me into it. This really is one of those movies where if you're like a cinephile, you're like, oh yeah, I've seen it for sure. So I'm really, really happy that I actually finally watched this because it is as good as everyone says it is. But it's awesome being on your show. You can find the Geek Peak Podcast. We are a not safe for work pop culture pod where we shoot the breeze and talk about all things pop culture, whether that's TV, movies, music, or video games. We have a different alcoholic beverage on every episode, and we review it. And, we don't just do reviews. We do trivia. We do brackets of, for example, we just recently did like Disney soundtracks or, Disney songs. That was a tough one because we were like pretty much ready to draw blood over like Aladdin versus Tarzan. Nice. So
Hercules is at the top, dude.
Oh, no spoilers, but yeah, for sure. Hercules Mulan showdown was tough. Geek Peak Pod, our website is geekpeakpod.com, peak like a mountain, and on Twitter and Instagram at Geek Peak Pod, and then we also have a Facebook page. Come check it out, come hang out with us, come have a beer with us, and listen to three idiots talk about I almost said pod culture, pop culture.
Same thing. Yeah, the episode that I listened to that I was like, I got to get Chris on was the episode you guys were doing retro games, some of your favorite games growing up. And so like the arguments were like, not the arguments, but you guys were talking about, GoldenEye and, some of the other ones you guys mentioned. Gauntlet, I think, was one of the other ones you mentioned.
Oh,
like
Gauntlet,
a lot of those.
I spent Legacy. So much money on Gauntlet in the arcade.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was not to go off on a tangent here, but my co-host Trent has always been a PlayStation guy, little Sony fanboy, and I've always been kind of an Xbox guy. I had an N64 growing up and a GameCube, but I've always been an Xbox guy. So me and him really go at it at times. I'm like, Halo is better than anything you can throw. And he's like, no, Spyro.
Yeah.
Ratchet and Clank. So we have fun, and come check it out. It's always it's something.
Yeah, no, it was a good time. I had a good time with it, and I was arguing with you on my phone. It was great. Not with you, but in general. All right, that's our show. Thanks for listening. We are Cheapseat Reviews. Cheapseatreviews.libsyn.com is our website. You can go find and listen to our original Die Hard episode, as well as all other episodes. We just wrapped our Star Wars month of November. That was a great month. I'm just going to be real honest with you guys. We've had more downloads in the month of November than we had in any month this year. It was a great month. Thank you all so much for being a part of that. If you are new to the show because of the Star Wars episodes, I hope you stick around. That was a lot of fun. Having those guests on were great. And so we're looking forward to a good month here to kind of end the year strong with our list of movies here for non-Christmas Christmas movies. Next week, we are doing Batman Returns with your Michael Keaton and your
Michael Caine.
What's her name? Michelle Pfeiffer and Danny DeVito. Oh, yeah, Danny DeVito. So this time, Sam, we can mention Danny DeVito, and then you'll put Joe Pesci in the drawing, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
I won't bury another wine.
As Penguin.
Yeah, as the Penguin. There you go. That's a fun callback to nothing. Cheapseatreviews@gmail.com is our website or email address. That's going to do it. So on behalf of Chris, thank you so much. Andrew and Sam, this is Sean saying thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you next week for Batman Returns.
This is Cheapseat Reviews.